Okay.
Welcome back. Hello, my dear. How are you? Let's get
I am
Instagram.
good. Let's go live
Mm.
Instagram. There we go. Well, hello everyone. It has been a hot minute. We've been away for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
So I want to welcome our YouTube followers, and Twitch, Rumble, 3 Facebook pages, 2 Instagram pages. And then these will be uploaded to iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So, welcome everyone.
Welcome, welcome. We've missed you. Hopefully, everyone is jumping on and joining us. We'll give it a couple minutes. I see you coming on over there on Instagram. Make sure that you guys are following us over here on YouTube as well so that you get when we go live. We have all kinds of exciting things in the works, but we have been gone. I've missed our poor dear followers for the last 3 weeks.
I
Where
know.
where have we been?
Well, I traveled for work. They sent me to Houston, and well, it's only going to work 1 week, and then the client came to me and said, "Oh, by the way, can you stay and work Monday and Tuesday of the next week?" So I chose to do that, and it's just so hard off of hotel Wi-Fi and fighting. It's like, oh my goodness, and I did some walking. So I was at the client site and I was getting in about, what was it, about 8, 9, 10,000 steps a day. Like, I would lay down at night and my hips hurt, my knees hurt. Like, my body was not used to getting those kind of steps in. So I was telling you about it. And what did you say to me? And what are you going to do to keep it up?
I'm like, "That's great. I love the movement. What are you gonna do to keep it up and keep it consistent?" Because it that is where many people tend to go, right? Is we
Right.
do really well or we have something come up that kind of, makes us move more, makes us get out and
Yep.
do things out of our normal habit. And then once we kind of slide back into to normal, it doesn't always stay
Right.
consistent. So,
Right. And I'll be happy to report now my steps aren't that high, but they are up, excuse me, way more than what they had been. So, um, I'm keeping it on average about 5 to 6. So not horrible. Now today, not so much. I was stuck in front of this thing all day. So, but I did go outside and get sat in the sun
awesome.
for 30 minutes today. So, which is huge with this particular project that I'm on with this client. So, some days I'm not even getting a lunch, but so that felt good. I was talking to you while I was sitting outside getting my vitamin D.
Yes, ma'am. And of course, then, that ended up and changed. And beyond just a week, you ended up and had messaged me and you're like, I've got some bad news. They wanted you to stay longer.
They
And so then
did.
it extended.
Well, so here's a little backstory to all this. So my husband and I, we lived in the Houston area. Um, we had a house, and we both got, well, he got reclassified as a remote worker, and we realized that the Houston area no longer suited what we wanted out of life. Going down this health journey that we've been on, me for, gosh, 3, 4 years now, and him probably about, what do you think, a year and a half, 2 years,
Or
not
something like that.
quite. Yeah, something like that. That we we wanted more. We wanted more out of the where what where we surrounded ourselves. And what we wanted was property. We wanted a piece of property where we could homestead, grow our own food, have, chickens and cows. And anyway, so we up and a year ago, um, well, we toured some places in Texas, and a year ago in July, we bought a travel trailer with the intention of living in it full time while we search for property. Well, that's what happened. This past February, the end of February, we sold our house in the Houston area, and we moved 5 hour, 5.5 hours north, um, North Texas. Like, we are very close to the Oklahoma border. And we are literally, like, I'm literally sitting in my travel trailer right now. But we were able to find, I think it was in April, May, 50 acres. We purchased 50 acres. It is raw land. And if people follow me on Instagram, they see I'm out on a tractor mowing, and a whole different lifestyle that we came from, which is hysterical. But we went back to, basically we were in Houston almost a week and a half. And we both realized, well, first of all, the traffic. I was sending you pictures of the
Mm,
traffic
no
and the
way.
G.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, we're going to go eat at this restaurant. And it was 5 miles away and took us 30 minutes. And it was bumper to bumper crawling. There was another time, well, we left on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock from downtown Houston, and we're trying to go north. And it took us an hour and a half to get out of Houston. And I sent you those pictures because the oncoming ramps were at a standstill. The 4 or 5 lanes in front of us was at standstill, and like the 5 lanes going the other direction was at a standstill. And um, yeah, we realized that we didn't want to be in that kind of environment anymore. So it was, yeah. Nope. Some that Becky has somebody, one of her family members talking to her right now. I can tell.
I did. Yeah. But yeah, there's no way I could end up and do the Houston traffic. Of course, so you were down there basically for the 2 Mondays, and then that following Monday was my daughter's birthday, her 16th
Yeah,
birthday. So I took that evening off, or we took that evening off,
yeah,
so that I could hang out and celebrate it with her. And so yeah, we're back, and we also have exciting things that we both are working on for November. Um,
absolutely.
you want to start with yours?
Well, I sure can.
Yours comes
Um,
first, so we'll do yours first, and mine don't start till the end of the month. So
okay, all right, sounds good. So, I created a master class on stress management, getting through the holidays. Um, in my quest to heal myself for the past 3, 4 years, um, w- when you start going down the healing path, you realize how much stress plays a role on healing and the detriment that stress has on the body, right? And literally starting with Halloween, I mean, we're in the holidays. So it goes from like candy to pies to cookies and food and parties. And it's just a very stressful time. A lot of people battle families, but there's a whole bunch of things that play into it. And one of the things that I found was you need to have a plan in place. And that has been very, when you write it, what is it? When you plan
Fail to
to,
plan, plan to fail.
yeah, yeah. So the overview of it is, and it's I've got some neat stuff, but we're going to talk about first and foremost the seasonal affective disorder, which is sad. It's called SAD. Um, it's very real. The time change that has happened, the fact that it's getting dark at like what 5:30, 6 o'clock. Um, it starts to play into, um, that seasonal affective disorder, the depression that sets in this time of year. It is very real, and go ahead and add to that a little bit, Becky, because I know, with the circadian, rhythm that we
Yeah.
teach, right?
So, yep. So with the circadian rhythm, obviously you can see I'm sitting in red. My computer screen is red. So one of the things with wintertime is because you can see it's dark outside, when we are stimulated by a bunch of bright lights, you're sitting and wearing your blue blockers, it also plays a role in our hormones. And whether you are stimulating that at night and then not winding down and getting sleep, then your melatonin doesn't take over, which for some people that also plays a role in cortisol, and it sends a secondary cortisol spike. So you already have increase of cortisol because of the holidays and the stress and everything else that is wrapped up in these, winter months, right?
Mhm.
But then you end up and you add to it the lack of sunlight, the starting to decrease of vitamin D, because many of us in the northern hemisphere above certain latitudes will start to lose that UVB aspect. So that also plays a role in the depression. And, it all just kind of intertwines and interlinks. And so when we don't put enough emphasis and focus on managing the stress, managing the cortisol, we start to gain weight. We start to end up and have glycemic issues, which I'll also talk about in mine and how the two of these kind of work on each other,
Mhm.
but also how we can kind of extend that throughout the holiday season, even beyond just the new year, making it something sustainable. But when you manage your stress, that, like I said, it balances the cortisol, but it also balances your leptin, and it it will balance that next day. And so it balances the hunger, because that is also part of it. Many of us have an emotional tie to food, and whenever we look to comfort, we look to those non-healthy, I guess, food options. I'm not saying that I'm excluding any one macro, but on the aspect of looking at it from a stress perspective, it does make a difference in how we handle ourselves, how we handle past, and how we are going to handle moving forward. And so that's where this workshop, or masterclass will end up and come into play.
Absolutely. And then we go into mindfulness and meditation. And, I think sometimes that gets a bad, rap in a way. It's like that kind of a woo woo, like I'm going to sit here and go and meditate, right? Not necessarily, uh, but it is, um, very important to have that mindfulness, that of how you're going to deal with the, kind of realistic expectations. And, it gets into more than, some meditation, breath work. I mean, we have a breath work, um, class or meeting every week, gets into yoga, it gets into journaling. And speaking of journaling, Becky, why don't you go ahead and tell them what you and I created around journaling, because it's so important.
It is. So we ended up and we created a affirmations journal. So the affirmations journal, now I know we've got people on YouTube, we've got people over on Instagram. Um, I'll be sharing a link for YouTube here in a minute. Instagram, if you end up and you go to my bio, you will see in my link tree the affirmations. You will also see the stress management class. You will also see the affirmations journal that we're talking about. So the affirmations journal is beyond just the aspect of grabbing a plain old notebook, if you will, and writing down. We go into different prompts, we go into different structures, we go into in depth in that aspect of why. Um, looking at, at the prompt, if you will. Um, here, I'll end up and I'll just pull one up since we're on the topic. Um, but yeah, so I should have had this prompted up.
Well, I threw it at you.
That's all right. You did, but I
I
end up and
did.
I have the benefit of having multiple tabs open. This is how my world rolls, but typically I have quicker fingers. So the unlocking and healing the body with the positive affirmations. So we end up when we talk about the two of us, we both end up and use affirmations.
Yes.
Journaling doesn't have to make sense, right? So the
Right.
journaling part, it doesn't have to make sense. It's just our bodies are an energy being. So if we can create this energy cycle to get the energy out of our head, quit that monkey mind racing, and put our thoughts on, we can overcome those negative patterns. But that also happens with the affirmations. So whether we are talking negative to ourselves, talking negative to our surroundings, we have the ability to counteract that negativity and create and rewire these thought patterns in the aspect of structuring. So we can structure ourselves because we are 90% water. Every protein molecule has exclusion zone water around it. I'm not going to go in depth because I'm not going to end up and lose any of you. Yes, I talk fast because I get very passionate about this. Um, but every protein surface has this exclusion zone water. And so when we are structuring and when we're looking at this, the body holds that memory. And if you are talking to yourself negative, if you're talking to down to yourself, it's going to end up and hold that. And it's going to hold it in the form of joint stiffness, inflammation, anything along those lines. And so we created these affirmation prompts to help with that. And it can be as simple as I'm in charge of my mind. I am strong. I am strong in body, mind, and spirit. I choose love. I choose to be
Mhm.
happy, because how we choose to handle our day is how our mood is going to appear or how it is going to be on that day. And
Mhm.
so if we are in charge of our mind, and then it goes into, this affirmation empowers you to take control of your thoughts. Is a reminder to you that you are the master of your mindset. You are capable of shifting that negative thinking into a positive action. It reinforces the ability to choose how you respond to challenges and external circumstances. And like I said, that's just one of them, but we go into 20 plus different affirmations. We expand that out. And then we give you, like I said, the prompts and the pages to create, these journaling and affirmation aspects. And we have the ability, like I said, to not only structure ourselves, but we can structure the things around us. So for instance, our water and that type of thing, you will create a better hydration. It's just, it goes into a whole in-depth, like I said, I could speak a whole night on that in and of itself, because it is so important and is so powerful when it comes to helping us create a present experience and a grounded aspect, um, to be that positive person.
Well, and part of why we created that affirmations journal was because too many of our clients just had no idea where to start. And even though we would explain it, they just still didn't have any, where do I start? What do I do? And it was like, you know
Mhm.
what? Let's let's help people out and give them the tools to be able to do that. It's kind of like, here you go. We've done this for you. Now, now here, once you kind of get it, you can, you know, you can go from there. But then the other thing that I talk about in my stress management class is the importance of sleep and preventing burnout. It's okay to say no, and especially during parties, after family get togethers, after, how do you deal with, uh, well, your grandma made this, you better eat it. Um, how do you even deal with that? How to take breaks, the importance of fresh air and sunlight, sugar and foods overdue. So we dive into that. We get into how to deal with that holiday. Like I said, the holiday foods. Um, Fighting that with others, because the other influences are, well, one bite won't kill you, right? Um, those kind of things, and how to have those ready, things to come back and say. So I'm going to give you those tools. And then I talk about financial stress. This is a very stressful time where you gotta buy the postman something, or the hairdresser, and on and on, and it becomes a financial stress. And then how to make new traditions, how to change your thinking. And then there's some workbooks. There's a workbook, some pages to it, that allows you to kind of put everything you learn in this master class together, and kind of some hands-on. Nothing like, oh my gosh, this is going to take me 2 hours to do. No, it's very easy. It's like one pages to get you thinking and get you going. And then with that, so that I can't. So we have the master class. I'm going to offer it 2 days. I'm offering it this Saturday at 10 a.m. Central, and the 16th, November 16th, and then Sunday, November 17th at 6 p.m. So you can join either one. Then on the 8th of December, you will get Q&A. So we're going to have another Zoom, like you're going to jump in, we're going to talk about it, maybe some things, well, from the time we had it this coming weekend until the first part of December, some things came up, like how do we deal with it. So it's a Q&A. We also are gifting you 1 month free of the BNC community, so you can see what we're all about and take part in um, other meetings that we have. Along with, I am giving a 30-minute session, one-on-one coaching, to be used in the month of December. So that was an $87 value. And if you use the code GIVING, like Thanksgiving, but giving, you $27. So why did I reduce it so much? Because it is so important to really manage your stress, and it's just another key in your healing journey. So anyway, I hope you can join. So I think, yeah, Becky has the link down below. So uh, hopefully I'll see you this weekend.
Sounds great. And definitely people take advantage of it. I know people over on Instagram, like I said, it is in my link tree, and use that code giving. So don't miss out on that. Get that support through the holidays, and you won't want to miss it. It'll be amazing. Sherry, you are a rock star. Hopefully they take well advantage of it, and get that support. Again, it looks like this: stress management, getting through the holidays. So take advantage of it and have a relaxing, enjoyable holiday instead of being stressed and burnout. And don't use the excuse, I'll wait until January 1st. Take
Correct.
advantage of it now.
Yep. We're going to set you up for success. That doesn't mean that you have to be perfect at all, but by gosh, we're going to give you some tools to help you get through this holiday season. But speaking of, we have something else in store for you. So, do you want to talk about what you have?
Yeah, so like I said, we've been busy behind the scenes. We may not have been on here for 3 weeks. If anyone watching has any questions in regards to any of these programs, make sure you end up and put it in the chat. I'm watching not only here on YouTube, but I'm watching the other platforms too. So if you have questions, make sure you ask. We're happy to answer them. Um, Also, if you're over here on YouTube, I see you, friends. Make sure you're liking, subscribing. That way you get the reminders when we go live or when we have guests. With that being said, so I have a 90-day MFF challenge. What is that? Right? I've had a lot of people ask me, what is your winter challenge about? And the winter challenge is about meats, fats, and ferments. So I do, obviously, we kind of talked about the whole circadian thing, right? That is my passion, that is my niche, that is kind of where I set. Um, Part of that is the transition of our nutrition. Not that we exclude food groups, but we transition with the seasons. Well, I'm in Nebraska. We're 30 some degrees, I think, right now. There's not much that's going to grow out there. And so part of that is once fall comes around, we get all those fall vegetables. What happens, right? To preserve them, you end up and you ferment them. As we transition into winter, that means meat is in, abundance essentially. You've gone out, you've harvested or hunted, you've harvested your animal, et cetera, right? Looking at ancient traditions. So the living aspect of what we are doing in today is having your meats. That would also end up and come with the fats of those meats. Now, I have opened it up so that it isn't just solely carnivore. That means that I've also incorporated other foods, if you will, into the fats. So things like coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. So we have different communities that are conjoining, combining into one. So the MCT oil, coconut oil, all of that is also going to be included, but we will discuss more in depth um, in the community. That is going to be part of it. This 90-day challenge, you will be getting 3 coaching sessions by yours truly. So we will be embracing the aspect of seasonal change, seasonal nutrient rich eating, coaching you through that, what that looks like, and how to get those nourishing fats, how to get the gut friendly ferments in there, and starting the journey through winter months when we kind of need that kickstart. We need that restart. We need that gut health benefit, because there's so many benefits that come from doing more of a relaxed approach, if you will, where we're just doing kind of a basics. We're not fully eliminating, right? We still have plants in there because we have the ferments. The ferments are a little bit different than going out and eating plants out of the garden, because the fermentation process and the whole probiotic aspect of the food, so things like sauerkraut, kimchi, there's a few others that are in there. I'm not giving out everything that is in this course or class that I will be doing, but when we incorporate the ferments, that helps the gut, it helps boost the immune system, it helps with temperature regulation, all of that. So there's a lot of background that goes into this aspect. Also, the other thing with ferment foods in wintertime is, what do people that struggle with digestion end up and take? A digestive enzyme. What do we naturally create out of fermented foods? Enzymes. So when we create or consume, I should say, when we create and ferment our foods that we've already harvested, so you get those local microbes, it helps on the digestion aspect. So many people have heard me say, I don't do supplements. Personal choice, I don't end up and take a lot of supplements. If I'm traveling, obviously ferments, I'm working with a company, so we may have giveaways for this challenge too, because I'm working with a company to try and get some. I could easily travel with these. They're kind of a smaller container. They're not glass like my pickle jar. Um, but I have sauerkraut that I is local. I have pickles that are local. All of those ferments help the body digest the food. So not only does it sort, I can't even talk tonight. Not only does the fermented foods support the microbiome, but it enhances the digestive health. It helps the immune system. It heals the gut. It's also very crucial for many people in the wintertime that get that seasonal affect disorder. They get, these other illnesses to consume and incorporate these ferments. Going back to the fat aspect, the fat is our fuel. So we only have two fuel sources. It's either the carbs or fats. And if we're not consuming those carbs, because let's face it, most of the fermented foods are lower carbs. You're going to really have to consume a lot to get any substantial amount of carbs, depending on what aspect of this challenge you're doing, because like I said, there's two different fermenting aspects. So depending on what aspect you are doing, it may not be as hard to get carbs, but it will help to contribute to your overall wellness. And also on that aspect, when you incorporate the fats, you typically are in deeper ketosis. There's a lot of healing, and winter is a time of restore, repair, and healing. So, what better time to do a 90-day challenge? Many people do 30, they do 75 hard, they do, things like that. We have carnivore or World Carnivore Month in January. So, all of those type of things are encompassed in this as well, to where it's a 90-day. It takes 21 days to create a habit or a change in your habit, but it then ends up and takes 90 days to make it sustainable. I'm all about a sustainable approach, and how can we end up and do a aspect or a lifestyle. I'm not just on this for another diet, but how can we make it a sustainable? And that is to create a 90-day challenge. So I'll break it down into 30-day. Each month you will get a group coaching session. We'll focus on what that looks like, how to support you. You will also have a community support as well. So it's not just we meet once a month, but this is an ongoing, you'll be able to bounce off each other, support each other, put all of that in there. So I'm excited for it because, like I said, as someone that does a circadian approach, and the other aspect is it's only $27.99. So it's less than $30 to get this meat, fat, and ferment challenge for 90 days.
Yeah, what a deal, right? I mean, just wild. And yeah, that's something that I've incorporated myself, um, because again, learning the seasonal aspect of eating, it is your body knows where you live, right? So it's I have found that to be a very worthwhile uh, the meats, fat, and fermented foods, for gut health, for all kinds of things. And again, on this healing journey that we are all on, this is really some great information that Becky's going to impart for 90 days. Like, wow. And I can't wait because I'm actually going to attend it right along with everyone else, even though I do incorporate all of that. um, I it never hurts to hear it again and again and again.
Well, and the aspect, so I see the comment in the chat, and like I said, if you guys have comments, don't hesitate to end up and put them in the chat. I will try to answer them. There are a few aspects on the ferments. Many people with histamines or a histamine reaction, we tell them not to do ferments, but it depends on also many clients how those products are fermented and what that fermentation looks like. Whether it's a longer fermentation or some of these that are a little bit shorter, they are able to tolerate some of those. So because it's all in how the body is breaking those down. So for some, that means also doing it in conjunction with like a liver. I have they're downstairs. Freeze-dried liver from Grassland Nutrition. I know they're downstairs. I know exactly where they're at. I have freeze-dried liver from Grassland Nutrition, and the DAO in that, in liver, kidney specifically, will help to break that down in the body to where some people are able to consume it. But like I said, there's other aspects of the fermented foods, if you're doing it more of a carnivore, that some people will end up and tolerate, and you're still able to do the program.
Absolutely, and it's a sign that the body is still needing to heal. So there's that.
The other aspect with this challenge is we will possibly, he confirmed tonight, but I'm just not sure on the date yet, but we will also end up and have a special guest coming to speak in regards of this combination and exactly what we're talking about in regards of meat and fermentation foods. So be keeping an eye out. Like I said, make sure you're liking and subscribing so that you get that notification when we do go live. I will also, the last 15 minutes of the interview, I will open it up to the BNC community to where you guys can ask your questions and join us. So that will be coming up as well. So you won't want to miss out. Is sourdough fermented? Yes. Sourdough is fermented, and I will go into the aspect of sourdough and the fermentation and how when we consume sourdough or not consume, like I said, I have this broken out in depth of whether you are doing it strictly carnivore or whether you are incorporating other things. But there is benefit in and that question's coming because the people know me, but also I've been posting on my social media more sourdough. I'm not the only one that consumes the sourdough, but there is health benefits in regards of the gluten aspect and how the fermentation acts on that gluten. It typically, it breaks down this. So backtrack. The fermentation alters the structure of the alpha and the gamma gluten proteins in the sourdough. So many people are able to consume it. It is more digestible. And so that is another aspect. If people want to consume a little bit higher in the carb, not do it necessarily carnivore, using something like sourdough as a carb source can be consumed as well. So like I said, the body digests it better. It does help to feed that gut bacteria. And I've had actually people that have done similar, I don't want to call it protocol, similar experiments, similar protocol. And it's actually helped with their glycemic control. So what are we looking at gaining by this? We're looking at reducing inflammation. We're looking at heart health. We're looking at gut health. We're looking at overall wellness and boosting our immune system. Like I said, there's a lot of seasonal benefits, a lot of health benefits that come from doing a MFF approach, um, or a variation of it. So yes, it can end up and be included, even though it is not necessarily traditional, depending on which influencer you follow. It is part of this challenge if you choose to consume it.
I love it. So, and then we, of course, are working on several guests, trying to get them to schedule time to come on with us. So we're always working in the background. Even though we were MIA for 3 weeks, there were things in the works for sure. So hopefully those guests will get signed up and we can get them scheduled and bring them on because we'd love to have a well-rounded uh, guest of real world people, like everyday people. That's what Becky and I are, right? I mean, we don't get on here and we don't have anything elaborate. I don't have we neither one of us have microphones and spotlights and the we don't have an intro and we don't have sponsors and we don't I we don't even put makeup on. Like we are just two women having a conversation about healing the whole body, what has worked for us, what works for our clients, what works in our BNC community. And it just um we really have a true passion to help people. um I think we just had that conversation today, didn't we, about the our desire to help over some influencers that are looking to make money. So it's it's a true passion for us. I'm in the middle of my healing journey, and in fact, I just ordered a product that I can't wait. Once I get it, we'll have to talk about it on a Monday night of what I got, because
Mhm.
I'm trying to heal my thyroid. So I'm excited for that to come. And again, it's a works in progress. Is that
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there was another question from one of our followers in regards of sleep being disrupted. So we kind of went over that in regards of the insomnia, but definitely check out the programs that we've put on in balancing stress, balancing those hormones. It will affect other hormones that are circadian hormones. So things like, cortisol, melatonin, leptin, insulin, all of those. So even though your sleep's been disrupted, look beyond the nutrition. I know you had commented that you've been high fat carnivore, but look beyond that nutrition into some of these other practices. Join us in the community. We have sleep meeting. We've got several other meetings where we would love to help you in regards of your insomnia. So, like I said, it's not just about always adjusting the fat and the protein, although there are some strategies that we can put in place. Um, Make sure you're reaching out to any of the coaches in there, reaching out to the community. We have a amazing community, always willing to help, always willing to discuss kind of their journey of what has helped them too. So they're they're great people in there, and I think I have the banner for the community. So um, to join us in the BNC community, it's just bncommunity.com. That will get you over to the community, and you can further ask us there or ask community members. They have a daily social every day, and let me tell you, they're pretty amazing crew over there. I jump on and they know that I end up and I put them in my ear and multitask, but they're still amazing. So jump over there with us, and we'd love to support you, help you with your sleep. Anyone else have any questions, program or otherwise? I'm just checking the other platforms. So if you have questions, ask if it's in regards of either of the programs that we're putting on in November or beyond, I guess. Y'all so quiet.
Yeah, I'm looking at my platforms here because there we go. I don't have any questions on mine.
Awesome. Alrighty, dear friends. If you do have questions, we look at the comments on our YouTube. So, how much tallow did you start with? 1 to 1.5 cups? No, not necessarily of tallow. The thing with fat that you'll want to start slow, if you're not incorporating additional fat, I always reference a seesaw. So if you're starting to bring that fat up, bring it up. Some people tolerate different types of fats too. So many people will tolerate it in the form of like the whipped tallow sticks. That video is on my website. There's also other videos of like fried what I call beef crack. Those tend to be tolerated a little bit more because the body has to digest it, like the beef crack or carnivore waffles, those type of things. We will in the MFF challenge be putting out a weekly recipe. Sherry and I were working on a recipe book, but throughout that challenge you will get a recipe per week. So that'll be part of the challenge too, to kind of help support you. They won't all necessarily just be fat focused, but they'll be protocol or challenge focused. So any of the challenge aspect that we're incorporating it'll be that focus. So some of them might be in regards of ferments, some of them might be in regards of fat and how to incorporate that fat, but increase that fat slowly. Don't just jump all in. That's where people will get digestive issues. The digestive enzymes don't necessarily catch up as fast. So lipase is typically the enzyme that is needed to break down that fat, and it doesn't always catch up as fast. So really increase that slow, and you may not need as much fat as what you think you need, depending what you're dealing with. So Shelty Mom, reach out if you have further questions. But
Absolutely. Well, this has been fun. It's been great catching up again with everyone. We missed you, for
we did.
sure. Yep. It was like even my mother said, "Where have you guys been?" It's like, "Mom, I was in Houston for 2 weeks and or 2 Mondays basically, and Becky's daughter turned 16, so so we
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 love you,
we
Mom.
I know, right? So yeah, hopefully she's watching. Hi, mom. So anyway, but don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It helps us because we're not sponsored by anyone, so that helps with the algorithms and all that stuff. But it's been fun. We will definitely be back this coming next a week from tonight, Monday, same time, 7 p.m. Central, and yeah, so it's been fun. Any last questions by anyone?
I don't see anywhere.
I don't. Nope, I don't either. So, all right. Well, we actually have a meeting that starts at 8 o'clock in the BNC community, which is
It is the nutrition meeting. So it is another meeting that, like I said, even though we talk about beyond nutrition, we don't single out food groups. We don't single out food camps, and anyone is able to come into that meeting and ask any of the questions with no judgment. whatsoever. And it just provides that safe space where people can come and talk about kind of what they're dealing with, what they're doing, and how things are going. So I will see people over in the BNC community.
Sounds good. Well, it was good seeing you, Becky, and everyone have a very good evening.
Awesome. Have a good evening,